Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Great Expectations.
As.
Ah.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. Chap. 54 sec 1. Blows cold. When it is summer in the light, and winter in the shade, we had our peacoats with us, and I took a bag. The bag. Where I might go, what I might do, or when I might return, were questions utterly unknown to me, nor did I vex my mind with them, for it was wholly set on Purvis' safety. I only wondered for the passing moment, as I stopped at the door and looked back, under what altered circumstances I should next see those rooms, if ever. We lighted down to the temple stairs, and stood littering there, as if we were not quite decided to go up on the water at all. Of course, I had taken care that the boat should be ready and everything in order. After a little show of indecision, our temple stairs, we went on board and cast off. Herbert in the bow, I steering. It was then about highway to 8:12. Our plan was this: the tide beginning to run down at 9, and being with us until 3, we intended still to creep on after it had turned, and roar against it until dark. We should then be well in those long reaches below Gravesend, between Kent and Essex, where the river is broad and solitary, where the waterside inhabitants are very few, and where lone public houses are scattered here and there, of which we could choose one for a resting place. There, we meant to lie by all night. 9 on Thursday morning. We should know at what time to expect them, according to where we were, and would hail the first, so that, if by any accident we were not taken abroad, we should have another chance. We knew the distinguishing marks of each vessel had been a few hours before: the crisp air, the sunlight, the movement on the river, and the moving river itself through a dapper run with us, seeming to sympathize with us, and amate us, and encourage us fresh and me with new hope. I felt mortified to be of so little use in the boat, but there were few better oarsmen than my 2 friends, and they rowed with a steady stroke that was to last all day. At that time, the steam traffic on the Thames was far below its present extent, and watermen's boats were far more numerous. Of barges, sailing colliers, and coasting traders, there were perhaps as many as now, but of steamships, great and small, not a tithe or a 20th part so many. Early as it was, there were plenty of scullers going here and there that morning, and plenty of barges dropping down with the tide. The navigation of the river between bridges, in an open boat, was a much easier and commoner matter in those days than it is in these, and we went ahead among many scarce and worries briskly. Old London Bridge was soon passed, and old Billingsgate Market with its oyster boats and ditchmen, and the White Tower and Traitor's Gate. And we were in among the tiers of shipping. Here were the Leith, Aberdeen, and Glasgow steamers, loading and unloading goods, and looking immensely high out of the water as we passed alongside. Here were colours by the score and score, with the coal plunging off stages on deck, as counterweights to measures of coal swinging up, which were then rattled over the side into barges. Here, at her moorings, was tomorrow's steamer for Rotterdam, of which we took good notice, and here tomorrow's for Hamburg, and to whose buspert we crossed. And now I, sitting in the stern, could see, with a faster beating heart, Mopont bank and Mopont stairs. Is he there? Said Herbert. Right. He was not to come down till he saw us. Not well from here. But I think I see it. Now I see him. Tulwip. Is he? Herbert. We touched the stairs lightly for a single moment, and he was on board, and we were off again. He had a boat cloak with him, and a black canvas bag, and he looked as like a river pilot as my heart could have wished. Dear boy, he said, putting his arm on my shoulder, as he took his seat. Faithful dear boy. Well done. Thank you. Again among the tiers of shipping, in and out, avoiding rusty chain cables, freight hempen hawsers and bobbing buoys, sinking for the moment floating broken baskets, scattering floating chips of wood and shaving, cleaving floating scum of coal, in and out, is done by many Johns, starting 2 inches out of her head, in and out, hammer going in shipbuilders' yards, says going at timber, clashing engines going at things unknown, pumps going in leaky ships, capstans going, ships going out to sea, and unintelligible sea creatures roaring cusses over the bulwarks of respondent light airmen. In and out out at last upon the clear river, where the ship's boys might take their fenders in, no longer fishing in troubled waters with them over the side, and where the festooned sails might fly out to the wind. At the stairs where we had taken him abroad, and ever since, I had looked wearily for any token of our being suspected. I had seen none. We certainly had not been. But if we had been waited on by any boat, I should have run into shore, and have obliged her to go on, or to make a purpose evident. But we held our own without any appearance of molestation. He had his boat close to him, and looked, as I have said, and show part of the scene. He was the least anxious of any of us. He was not indifferent. The best of gentlemen in a foreign country. He was not disposed to be passive or resigned, as I understood it. But he had no notion of meeting danger halfway. When it came upon him, he confronted it, but it must come before he troubled himself. If you knowed, dear boy, he said to me, what it is to sit here longer, my dear boy, and have my smoke. Arthur, having been day by day betwixt four walls. You didn't be me. I think I know the delights of freedom, I answered. Out, said he, shaking his head gravely. But you don't know it equal to me. You must have been under lock and key. Thiebe. It occurred to me as inconsistent that, for any mastering idea, he should have endangered his freedom and even his life. Habit of his existence to be to him what it would be to another man. I was not for it. Since he said, after smoking a little, you see, to be continued.